Hello, everyone. My name is Tooways Asmal. Welcome to another episode of Two Ways to Skin a Cat, a show where we talk career experiences, entrepreneurship, and investments. The main aim is to show that there's more than one way to be successful other than just climbing the corporate ladder. We are live on LinkedIn and YouTube, and the show will be available on podcast by tomorrow. For those listening on Apple Podcast or Spotify, please leave a rating for the podcast. Now, if you're joining us live, drop a one in the comments so that we know we're not talking to ourselves, and drop a two in the comments if you're watching the recording. My guest for this week is Valentine Mananzva, a chartered accountant with additional qualifications and experience in financial planning, valuations, infrastructure, data science, and more. Valentine, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you, man.
Let's jump straight into the meat of it. Tell us your story. Where do you come from? And even outside of work, who is Valentine Mananzva? Give us the backstory.
No, thank you very much for this opportunity you gave me. Yeah, I think you reached to me or I reached to you. So I told you saying that I think I have a story to tell. So Valentine Mananza originally is from Zimbabwe. In a rural area called Mondoro. It's around 19 kilometers from Harare. So I grew up there. I think in Zimbabwe we also do some grades. So from grade 1 to grade 7, then Form 1 to Form 4. I did it there in Mondoro. Then I went to a boarding school, I think for Form 5 and Form 6, where I was focusing now on accounting. So basically, that's my background. Then from Harare, I'm born in Tooways. That's around the 19 kilometers also from Harare. Then after my boarding school, which is Form 6, I went to Eastern Cape, which is East London. I was doing asset accounting, which is from first year to fourth year. So I think generally doing all those things in East London, they're enjoying your life, yes, but also with those big books for CAs we carry. So yeah, I think from that time in Eastern Cape, I finished my fifth year, my fourth year around 2015. Then I went back to Zimbabwe for a year. So that year, I think it changed my life a bit because I didn't work for that whole year, which is 2016. Yeah, then there was a lot of challenges in that year. I thought things will be better. I tried to look for articles. I tried to apply everything here in South Africa, but I couldn't get anything at that time. And I something interesting, I even ventured into music at that time. I was also a DJ producer, enjoying my time there. But then I think around August in that year, I ventured into entrepreneurship. I wanted to be a consultant. Then I started doing some consulting work, registering companies. That's back in Zimbabwe. Then a friend of mine or a cousin who was here in Durban, which I am now, brought me to South Africa and say, hey, Valentine, you should come back here. There's something you can do. Then I joined a small company here in Durban where we're doing some articles. So we're more involved in the public sector. So that's how I got into articles now with my my degree done. I get into articles at a small company. So in the second year, third year, I was already a consulting manager. So we're doing a lot of financial statements. That's your caseware. Then in my third year or at the end of second year, I was involved in big projects. I think around being a manager, around doing the war, assets, debtors, everything which is around or which is going to the financial statement. That's why I saw a big opportunity to say, no, I think I might venture into asset management. I think I can enjoy this. I'm a bit tired now of doing financial statements. At that time, I was very good with Keswe and all those financial things. So I said, let me go into asset management. Yeah, then I had to read a lot of things. It was at that time I was a consultant manager, and there was a project which we were doing, which was an asset management project, but which I didn't have knowledge, and I was the leading manager. So I had to make sure that I deliver. So at that time, I saw a lot of things: GIS, data analysis. There was a lot of things happening there. So I ended up saying, hey, let me just try to do a GIS. And also, I was seeing that there's an opportunity for growth, and also there is a lot of money in the asset management in terms of physical asset management. That's how I got into that space. I think that's basically a brief background of myself.
And outside of work?
Well, outside of work, yeah, I'm a United fan. Yeah. Then yeah, so weekends we enjoy watching United. So I also have two children. I have a recent baby girl now born. and
Oh,
my
okay.
other boy, Harvey Specter. So I call him Harvey Specter from that Suits. So I enjoyed Suits a lot as well. I also watched some movies here and there. So I had to give him a name, Harvey. So yeah, that's outside of work. Sometimes yeah, I enjoy reading, but a lot of times I'm always on my computer, researching, going through all this data analysis. It doesn't give you chances and this data science and all that stuff. So that's usually how my outside of work is scheduled. Yeah.
Okay. Now, so for those of you who've seen Valentine's LinkedIn profile, there's lots of credentials after his CASA. There's a lot of alphabet letters. So what I thought is, let's go through each qualification, and I need you to explain each one to me. So I'm
Okay.
gonna mention the name, and then I'm gonna ask you to explain what it's about and how it's helped you in your current position, if it's not your main day-to-day focus. So, I mean, the first
Okay.
qualification that I saw on your profile is FMVA. What does it stand for, and what or how does it help you?
So FMVA, sometimes I confuse it, but it's more of a valuation. So it takes into account everything into valuation. That's your DFC, your project finance, your operational valuations, your unit cost valuation of infrastructure. So it basically it's an online course, which I think is also being done through corporate finance, but it's more valuation. So it looks most of company valuations, retail estate valuations. Yeah, basically that's that on that other side.
Okay, so let's go to the next one. FPWM. What's that qualification, and how does it help you?
So that one is a financial planning certification. So as I was saying, also I'm in this infrastructure asset management. So we look into the future and say, in the next 10 years, what will be the assets we'll be replacing? What the asset will be renewing? What is the maintenance? So in terms of that, you look into financial planning. Then also try to link with what we call private public partnership in terms of analyzing the value you have today and to say how can I get money on this project, especially in the municipality environment. So it's like more planning around to say what is my actual money I have or budgets I have against in the next 10 years is the actual needs of the municipality or needs of a company. Then the difference you try to play around the funding models to make sure that you meet all the needs you need. So in that sector, so as I was saying, I'm also one of the people who like to learn a lot. So when I tried to get into planning, I thought this was going to help me to play around with planning.
Okay, because when I hear financial planning, I think of like in individual investments, where this sounds like financial planning for companies and I guess
Yeah, yeah.
sectors and cities. So it's much larger than financial planning for individuals. Okay,
Yes, yes,
okay,
yes. So it also covers in that same course. It covers actually the individuals and companies.
okay.
But then with that knowledge, you properly now channel it into the other sectors. Like as I was saying in the infrastructure asset management planning. So you can also play around with that same concept. They are the same. Yeah.
Okay. The next one that I see on your list is CBCA. So what is CBCA and how is it currently helping you?
So that CBCA is around the credit analysts. So it's around the. So there's some time when I was looking around the options in what I wanted to do. So I saw that qualification, I think with the DBSA South Africa. So I said, maybe I can join them. Sometimes and you are thinking was also to join the African Bank and all those things and change the world. So that's when I end up doing that other course because it's about trying to give credit to someone and analyzing if they have money or if they can meet their credit. So, but it will also into a link with the valuation, which is MVA, which we talked first, which is the valuation. But now we are focusing on the debt only to say, if I give you so much, are you able to pay it back?
Okay, okay. And the last one, I'm sure there's more, but the last one that I saw was BIDA. What's BIDA?
So that one is also it's a data one. It's a business intelligence data analysis. So basically, that's where I'm involved a lot now, where we build models through data. So in terms of asset management, you have to do an asset data model, and then you analyze all the data across, and then you look at an infrastructure failures, and then you run through all the data science in terms of if you want to predict when the infrastructure might fail. So basically, that's the section which I'm enjoying a lot now in data science. But there's a lot of courses inside it. There's Python, there is SQL, there is even data science is one, which is I was saying is Python through. There is normal Excel data analysis. So it's a big bucket there inside that data analysis, which is a good course. But as I was saying, all these courses are done through Corporate Finance Institute, and they go in a bucket. So if you buy the whole bucket, I think it's around 10,000. You can get all of them. Then it's your time now. How can you do it? How can you schedule? Because most of them they are 6 months, but for yourself to get it, maybe you have to pin yourself and study and focus. Yeah.
So that was actually my next question: is where did you find the time to study all these extra qualifications while working a full-time job?
Yeah, so it's interesting. So what I did, especially on the other two, the first two, I think I got them around 2020. So during the holiday, when I was saying December, I said I'm not gonna take holiday December holiday. I'm gonna focus on this. Then my wife was so, hey, why are you doing this? And I said, hey, let me do this thing. It's a 3 months or 4 months or 6 months program, but for me to get it out of the door, let me do it now. Then the other two, I was doing them during the night. So I'm also one of those guys who work a lot over the night. Yeah. So I was doing it through them the night, and also the last one for the bidder one. I think I failed it 2 times because as accountants we are not into Python, we are not in SQL. Some of those things they become difficult for us. So yeah, but I had to redo it and rewrite it, redo it. So yeah, but most of it through the night on those, and also weekends. Sometimes I was saying most of the time I'm spend on my computer.
Okay. For the audience, we'll be responding to questions towards the end. So please add your questions to the comment section now so that we don't miss them. After we've discussed all these qualifications, if we look at it in hindsight, knowing what you know now, would you still try and obtain each qualification?
Yeah, I think from perspective, I think even before USC, I think for those ones, I can advise someone now, if maybe don't have money to go for CA, I would do them. So especially the data science and data analysis, that's where we are going. That's everything is now about data. So even I was saying in my company where I work, basically it's a data game. So if you don't know data analysis, data science, you can't even contribute in meetings or you can't say anything. So basically, I think with the world we are going to, those ones I'll redo, I will do them no matter what. Yeah, these are evaluations, and yeah, I think I'll always do them.
Okay, okay. And how do you, I mean, some of these qualifications are a little bit different to each other. How do you tie each qualification together to do the role that you're currently doing?
Okay, yeah. So as we're saying now, that's good. So in a way, I'm in a setup which is so nice with a lot of support. So in our company, there's data analysts, there's engineers, there is us accountants, there is people from GIS. So basically, also I'm a manager in that section. So I might be a project manager. I might also be like being the overall who say no, this thing is correct. Is the financial guy, is the lead. So basically, with all these other guys coming into this space, I have to know everything in a way. I have to be on top of everything. So in terms of the data, they will run through all the data, they will run all the models, then maybe it gets to me. Right. Then when we are doing, for example, I was saying infrastructure asset planning, maybe engineers they will run and say, oh, we have to renew this infrastructure in the next 10 years. This is all the needs we have. Then I take now my cap of the planning way now to say, oh, okay, what can we do now? What funds are there? Can we borrow? Advise the client around. So yeah, I think all of them they link together. But at the end of the day, most of these things we did them during our CA qualification. But it's just now getting the actual practical when you do this certification and get the actual your hands dirty.
Okay, almost like on the next level.
Yeah.
I see when I look on your LinkedIn profile that you've spent 5 months working in the US. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience and whether you would recommend it to others?
Yeah, I didn't really go there in a way, but working from home. So
Right.
it was a company which we were doing external audit and we're supporting from home. So from that time up to now, I never went back into the office. I'm still working from home. So yeah, it was like that's where also I got into this a mindset of saying I should do valuation because there was a section which was dealing with transaction advisory. So I asked my other guys, hey, I want to get into this transaction advisor. What do I need to do? And they didn't know, go for MVA and maybe if you want to do CFA, you can do it. So that's how I get interested. But it was more of an auditing setup with that those 5 months supporting
Okay.
the USA companies. Yeah.
And you touched on it briefly earlier, but I see you qualified at the University of Forte in the Eastern Cape. Can you tell us more about your Forte experience?
Yeah, no, no. Forte is like my second home. As I was saying, East in London. I was so young. We got there, first year, second year. Second year, I think when I started focusing at the first year and second year, were bit playing. Yeah. But then second day, I almost failed accounting. Yeah, I got I think 49 or yeah. Then I said, hey, second year now I'm gonna fail and I need to pass this thing. And that's the only time I failed. I think in the second day. Then I said the next year I'm gonna go for this thing in third year. Then I had to push myself third year, fourth year. Then I think unfortunately that time I passed it first attempt. Yeah, but accounting is very difficult to pass it first attempt. So yeah, but East London was very warm to me. Yeah, I really enjoyed to be in East London. Even up to now, I always tell my wife, I think I should go back there and stay there because it was always like a second home for me. I really enjoyed it.
I want to move over to questions from the audience. I see one coming through. There's a question from TC who says, "Hi Valentine, how have you handled taking up new roles that go beyond your technical knowledge? Secondly, within your role, what soft skills have you found to be useful in your journey?" Maybe break it up and we can answer both questions separately.
Okay, so I'm gonna start with the first one. So yeah, this is good because as I was saying, from an assets accounting side, I had to venture into asset management space, which is like engineering stuff, which I didn't know what to do, but I had to read now because when you're talking to managers or your manager, you need to be aware of what is happening. So to get into that, I think it was more of pushing myself. As I was saying, from the data analysis side, to push myself to understand what other guys are doing, push myself to understand if we are talking about the RIUL modeling, what are we talking about? Push myself of if we are talking about bundling infrastructure, can I bundle it myself? So I had to do them. Basically, sometimes I take all these things also maybe after maybe we've done it, I redo it and check it on my side that is this thing making sense? Is it also understanding? So that's how I took the other, which is beyond my knowledge. It's a lot of research, a lot of learning. Yeah. The other space, that space is there's a lot of learning. Because to get where I am, I think I'm still learning and trying to get to know everything. Then the second question, I think it's about management. I think the other thing, as I was saying, if you look at my LinkedIn, I didn't even put all my certificates. I have a lot of them. I have also a lot of project management certificates, GIS certificates. So in terms of project management now, I manage a section of accounting, and I'm also going to manage a lot of other guys, which are engineers and also GIS. So I had to learn also the management side of project management, and also through my journey, I was so involved in, for example, in development of infrastructure asset management systems. So with all that knowledge now, yeah, you can even manage the other people. Then also the communication. I think sometimes it's a second language. We try our best. We struggle here and there, and also managers will put us on in line sometimes to make sure that you meet all your soft skills.
Perfect. My last question is one question that I like to ask all my guests. What is one piece of
Yeah.
advice you would give your younger self?
No, I think young of myself, I think as I was saying, there's sometimes you make mistakes. As I was saying, when I jumped from my finishing my fourth year, I had to go home to Zimbabwe. I was just enjoying going to Zimbabwe. I didn't know that there would be consequences. Yeah. So that full year, I think an advice is to say I had to focus and find articles. But it was also at times it was difficult to get articles as a Zimbabwean at that time. But yeah, young of myself, I think those steps should try and maybe do the right thing. Then the other thing of young of myself, I think I can always advise myself. I think you continue learning.
I think that's a good way to end for. But any last words from you, or anything we didn't discuss that you'd like the audience to know?
From me, I think from me, what I can say in South Africa is we can see that infrastructure is failing us. There's a lot of water losses. There's a lot of aging infrastructure. So in the private sector, my other guys in the corporate finance, let's come together. I think we can have some nice stories to talk about and finance all these infrastructure needs. Yeah, there is a good gap there which we can enjoy as a team. Then also from maybe other young people to learn. I think there's a lot now out there. People they are willing to share. You go on Twitter, you go on LinkedIn, you go, yeah, people they are sharing a lot of information, but you just need to do the right thing. You look for people you like, you follow them, they will some they guides. So I think yeah, that's some advice I think I have for other people out there.
I think that's a good way to end. The show has been live on YouTube and should be available on podcast by tomorrow. If you're watching on YouTube or listening on the podcast and you feel that it's added value, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click on that notification bell to get automatically notified when the next episode comes out. Valentine, thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Thank you, man. Bye.
Thanks everyone for joining us for another episode of Two Ways to Skin a Cat. Goodbye.